Greece has elected its first ever female president, and of course, the country is already falling apart.
I like it.
Yeah. A 20-year-old woman in Bangladesh with 2 uteruses gave birth to twins 26 days after giving birth to her first child. This according to her vagina's suicide note. The world's heaviest woman died this week. The world's heaviest woman was best known for her catchphrase, "Stop calling me that."
This week, the FDA granted the first condom approved for anal sex. It took them this long because their wives would only let them test it on their birthdays.
The makers of Barbie have introduced the first ever Barbie with hearing aids. It teaches an important lesson. It doesn't matter if you're deaf, as long as that body banging.
Kevin Spacey.
This'll get you back. A woman in Texas allegedly dumped 3 buckets of human waste in front of a police department and drove away. It's a rare case of erratic behavior from a lady who poops in a bucket.
Scientists have trained a goldfish to drive a car. They believe it's the first step to eventually training women. After this year's elections, a record-setting 12 states will have female governors, while the other 38 states will have dinner ready on time. A California company has created a new marijuana-based vaginal suppository to help women suffering from menstrual pain. And ladies, if you're lucky, it might give your boyfriend the munchies.
A woman at a bachelorette party in Scotland was attacked while wearing an inflatable penis costume. The woman says she's still throbbing and her head feels like it's ready to explode.
The world.
UFO enthusiasts have declared that Hillary Clinton is the first ET candidate after she pledged to release government files on UFOs and Area 51. Unfortunately, the aliens keep all their files on a private email server. A man proposed to his longtime girlfriend while she was in the middle of the New York City Marathon. Because what woman can resist a man who doesn't wait for her to finish?
A painting by Pablo Picasso portraying his lover as a sea creature was sold at auction for $67 million. It's a beautiful abstract expression of his love and admiration that he named Titty Squid.
An American woman set a new record by visiting every country in the world in 19 months. And after all that travel, she found the one thing that had been inside her all along: Zika.
Saudi Arabia announced on Tuesday that it would begin allowing women to drive. Wow, that's only a few short years after cars were allowed to drive themselves.
A new survey finds that half of Americans think that in the future, having sex with a robot will be normal, while the other half are women.
A new study of female bottlenose dolphins suggests that their clitoris can experience pleasure during sexual stimulation, but sadly, their fins can't reach.
It was announced.
Do you get it?
Yeah, Representative Liz Cheney attacked the House GOP leadership, saying they've enabled white supremacy and anti-Semitism. House leadership rejected Cheney's attacks, calling them cheaper than a black rabbi. A member of the punk rock group Pussy Riot, which has long protested Vladimir Putin, revealed that she fled the country disguised as a food delivery worker, which explains this notification from DoorDash.
In an effort to draw attention to National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Minnesota, more than 10,000 bras were hooked together and hung from a crane. Well, I do not want to know how Minnesota celebrates Black History Month.
Hawaii Hawaii's Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, began erupting for the first time since 1984. Also erupting for the first time since 1984, your aunt watching Yellowstone. This is fun. A Canadian woman was fined more than $25,000 for illegally importing bull semen. Meanwhile, in the U.S., bull semen is sold legally under the name White Claw.
It was reported that more than 400 million pieces of plastic has washed up on a remote island in the Indian Ocean. And for reference, here's what 400 million pieces of plastic looks like.
A 10-year-old boy in Florida faces misdemeanor battery charges after he allegedly touched a teacher's breast, because under Florida law, students are required to wait for their teacher to make the first move. A nun in Colombia who had lived in a convent for 8 years has left the clergy to become a porn star, destroying the otherwise spotless sexual reputation of the Catholic Church. It was announced that Kylie Jenner, for the second year in a row, was the world's youngest self-made billionaire. The announcement was made in this month's issue of Now's Not the Time.
Investigators say that the $4.5 million diamond ring stolen from Kim Kardashian will most likely be made into smaller, less valuable stones. You know, like Kendall and Kylie.
A woman was arrested in Florida after she stole 4 watches and hid them inside her vagina. Officials became suspicious when the woman took a licking but kept on ticking.
Dream in your hands so tenderly. You kept me going when they didn't believe. Not much is certain, but one thing I can see.
A woman in Delaware won $400,000 after hitting back-to-back lottos in the same day. But the woman says she's still going to keep her day job, forging lottery tickets.
You know, as a man, there's no way I can understand the full impact of this issue, but I asked a bunch of women around the office what their personal experience was with abortion, and I got to admit, I learned a lot from the HR meeting they made me go to at the result.
Researchers have discovered a piece of 20-million-year-old petrified wood on the Greek island of Lesbos. They knew it was from Lesbos because it's double-ended.
Oh, man.
A British woman discovered when she got pregnant that she had a second tiny vagina. Yeah, da butt. Taylor Swift gave a commencement address at NYU's graduation ceremony this week because college is a lot like breaking up with Taylor Swift. You're still going to be paying for it decades later.
Thursday was National No Bra Day, which I celebrated by not supporting women. It's a bra joke.
WNBA star Brittany Griner was freed from prison in exchange for Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. It's actually a great trade because Bout was only averaging 5 points and 2 rebounds a game. A woman in Atlanta gave birth to her baby in a McDonald's, so caution, wet floor. Peloton's being called sexist for a new ad showing a wife obsessively using a Peloton bike that her husband gave her. But at least they decided against using the slogan, Peloton, you better keep it tighter than the babysitter.
A teacher in Oklahoma who was participating in the statewide teacher walkout was arrested for having sex with a student. Worse, she had to pay for her own supplies.
According to new reports, 6 days before WikiLeaks released hacked emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign, Roger Stone, who I believe runs a haunted carnival, received a text from a friend reading, Hillary Clinton's campaign will die this week, even though the actual moment her campaign died was when she said this.
Pokemon, go to the polls.
A man in New York State was trapped inside his car for 10 hours overnight when a plow covered his car in 4 feet of snow. Even more amazing, his wife believed that story.
For the first time in the history of Wheel of Fortune, the game show was hosted by Vanna White. There were no survivors.
Well, guys, tomorrow is Mother's Day, whether you wanted to be one or not. In an effort to compete with Victoria's Secret, Target has launched a new bra and underwear brand for women. It's the lingerie that'll have your man saying, "Not tonight."